Okay. So, so teaching a specific series of movements that have been handed down, teacher to student, for maybe a very, very, very long time, uh, is the normal way, and then you just keep repeating. You keep repeating, and that's not the way breathing of qigong is. But every now and then I think, well, I really should do this sometimes. So you can, of course, access all these movements in the correct order that they were taught to me on the YouTube whenever you want to. And these movements are called Return to Spring, and they're taught by a gentleman named Teacher Lee, um, back in the early 90s, or no, that's not quite right, mid 90s maybe. He came from China. I was born and raised in China, uh, and became quite famous. He became a martial artist and actually a movie star. He was a big movie star in China. And then the story goes, one day this wandering beggar came to his house and asked to stay with him. And he said you could for some reason. And it turned out to be a Qigong master, the beggar was. And he came to teach this martial arts, Olympic martial arts teacher, this ancient form of Qigong that he'd been carrying, because they were kind of outlawed in China in those days. This would have been in the probably late 80s. Um, so as soon as he started teaching these practices to teacher Lee, um, he really got into it and developed it, and to the point where he said, I have to teach this, which means I have to get out of China. So he left his great job and his fame and his expensive apartment and everything that he had, and went and left with his wife, and moved to the Philippines. And then from there, he developed this whole following, which I think is still going, called the Shenzhen Society. So he came to Madison a number of times, and taught us these movements. So I don't know how old these are, but they're very, very old. Uh, and Yeah, I think that's probably enough. You're familiar with most of the movements already because we've done them, but we haven't really done them in this order. So we'll start with warm ups, and then we'll go into this series of movements. I think there are 14 of them, and then we'll do our sitting practice. So you may want to just notice what your energy is like right now. I mean, how does your body feel? How active is your mind? Um, and if you're tired, if you sort of normally say you're tired, um, you can reframe that into being relaxed. Is that okay? Well, I'm very relaxed instead of, oh, I'm really tired. It's kind of the same thing actually. Um, but we can be relaxed and mentally alert. If we're not, then that's sleepy. So that's different from tired. So, or maybe you feel very kind of overstimulated and maybe a little, I don't know, jangly or nervous. And you can reframe that and say, oh, there's a lot of energy. There's a lot of energy here. Yeah. So it's all just levels of energy and types of energy, all these different labels we put on it. And then, of course, the energy changes as we do these practices. Okay, if you're a little too relaxed, you can do standing mountain and kind of straighten up a little, stiffen your arms and hands a little to bring more control. If you're real jangly, um, you can maybe sort of sit down, relax a little bit, focus on the breath. And if neither of those describes you, that's fine. So as we drop our attention down into the body, the Buddha taught, so this is the first foundation of mindfulness and mindfulness of body. So we receive the sensations of the body, we feel the body, and we can move our attention to different parts of the body, say the bottom of the feet, moving it up the body, moving it with the breath. We can home our attention into different places. And then we can actively sort of attain this posture. Okay, so which might mean just sort of tucking the chin a little bit, straightening up a little, pulling the shoulders back a little bit. So this isn't exactly being receptive. This is, well, we're receptive. We feel the body here and we notice, okay, it's slumping a little or whatever. And so then we do this active thing where we, attain the posture. And then we go into the receptive and we feel, okay, how does it feel now? And then there's this back and forth between, okay, this is how the body's feeling, and this is what's happening with the posture. And maybe, you can adjust it a little bit as you need to. It's this give and take. So that's body, and then we move to the breath. Just feeling the breath, receiving the breath. And same with the breath, we can just experience the sensations of the breath. Or if we want to intervene with the mind, we can imagine, breathing, uh, say, through the bottoms of the feet, the top of the head, or some other way. Or we can intervene in the breathing and say, okay, I'm going to take a deep breath now. Or, oh, maybe my breaths are too deep, I'll make them a little shallower. So there's, again, this interplay between being receptive and feeling feeling that what's coming in, and then actively interacting with it. And in Qigong, we're encouraged to use visualization, right? So this is an active mental activity, but it's in harmony with what we're receiving through the body. So, for instance, we're feeling the breath. We can then imagine, say, breathing in through the pores of the skin, breathing out through the pores of the skin. So, in this way, body, breath, and mind become unified. And then we notice the posture. Do we need to adjust it a little bit or not? Notice the sensations of breathing. And now we can visualize the vertical connection, the axis from the center of the earth up through the body, out the top of the head. And we can breathe right through it. We breathe in from the earth, breathe in up the body, breathe out through all the way up into the universe, then breathe down, and then repeat. Okay. And when body, breath, and mind are all in harmony, they're all activated in awareness. Then we can expand the awareness to the energy itself. So the body may be tingling, warm, it may be heavy, soft, but all of that is expressed through this tingling kind of sensation in the body. And it's also the space of the mind. Okay. And then it's the space all around too. And so this is just a standing meditation practice. And you can do this for 20 minutes or whatever, instead of sitting. It's just a standing Qigong. Okay, very good. Okay, go ahead and relax your posture, loosen up a little. And let's just, starting at the top of the head, okay, and then as you sort of move down, you can move the shoulders, just loosening up. Okay, very good. And then moving down to the chest, the lungs. And so here we're moving the eyes to, we're looking down, and then we're looking up. Even if we're in a completely dark room, it's just the movement of the eyes, the direction that they're pointing affects the mind and the body. Okay, a couple more. Okay, very good. Right, and now if you want to put your hands on your abdomen and lower back, and sort of push, then that's fine. Um, and if you don't need to, that's fine too. We just want to keep the flexibility in the lower spine and uh, in the hips. Just keep that loose. It's so important for balance. Okay. And then around. And usually in Qigong, if you do it one way, then you also do it the other way. If you do it clockwise, and then you do it an equal number counterclockwise. Okay, good. And before we lift the foot, let's just reconnect, feel the presence of the vertical, and then adjust the posture a little as you need to. And then when you're ready, so they just slightly bend that one knee and sink down, and then lift the heel. You can keep the toe on the ground if you want, or you can lift the whole foot. Okay, let's go into Trembling Mountain. So you can focus on the breath when you're doing this. It's choppy, but it's still an anchor. If you're imaginative and you'd like to imagine, um, it's been described as like pieces of a sort of a shell around the body that are just cracking, falling down, falling off, sort of shedding anything that's not necessary, or inside the body, just little bits of things, what the teachers call stuck chi, just letting that go down, out the hands, out the feet. And by visualizing that or imagining it, you can you bring the body and mind into harmony. They're not fighting each other. The mind is helping the process of relaxing, releasing tension in the body. Oh, one person described as icicles, sort of icicles falling uh, and uh, and shattering on the ground. So by placing attention on the sensations of the body and some awareness of the breath, and then visualizing, then once again, body, breath, and mind are in harmony. Okay, let's just speed it up just a little bit for a little bit. Okay, and now let's slow it down. And then come into stillness. Okay, so the return to spring Qigong, um, a lot of the ancients would refer to spring um, sort of as the essence of this new energy coming into the body. So returning to spring is that, we may feel somewhat depleted, we come back and we re-energize. So that's the focus of this. Okay. So first one in this series is boat rowing in the stream of air. So we all have done this. So and the rate at which you do this is the rate of your breath. And the first way to do this is we breathe out when we fold up, and we breathe in when we straighten up. Okay, and then you can do reverse breathing on this and do it the opposite. If you'd like to engage the mind too, the imagination, you can breathe from beyond the body into the body and from within the body to beyond the body. Using the feet, the crown of the head, pores of the skin. Or you can just notice, just receive what's coming in from doing the practice. That's also a mental activity, being receptive. Let's do a couple more. Okay, that's the first one. This is traveling eastward across the sea, and it goes switch the arms each time. With the breath, of course. Let's do a couple more. Just notice. And so this next one we'll do 3 times. A lot of the focus of Qigong is refining the Qi. And by that I mean, so we're bringing this life force energy up into the body, through the body, up, and then up to the head. And as it rises, it gets finer and finer and finer, and then out the top of the head and up into the universe. So this is just called moving Qi to the head. So we stand, and let's drop our attention down into our roots. So this is, we imagine we have roots going into the ground and we feel them. We feel what it would be like. Okay, good. Okay, and from there, so those roots are alive, they're in touch with the earth. And we're going to bring, so dip the knees, we're going to bring, point down this energy up through the roots, coming up just like a tree, up the center. And then we'll put the hands together, and then right where the thumbs meet, there's a little opening. We're going to place that opening on what Teacher Lee calls the third eye. And then we're going to arch the back. We're going to bend back so that that's
that's pointing straight up. And visualize the light of the moon or the universe coming down, down through and down through the body, all the way down into the ground. And you just hold this posture. And so we're breathing through the forehead, breathing through the hands and through the feet. Okay. All right. So right, so dip the knees and come up. And now the hands are going to come around. Good. Very good. Okay. So once again, body, breath, and mind. The mind's going to go down into the ground. Dip the knees, point down. Hands are going to come up. Hands touch to the third eye. Now, this is bending back. This is filling the body with the light of the stars. And then bringing up the energy of the earth and then out into the universe. Okay. And dip the knees again. Come up, circle. Okay, so one more time. Okay, and dip the knees again, and then come around. Now the next one is expelling chi. And we've done this before too. So this is so that's the basic movement. We'll do it a few times though. So we're going to sit down, stand up, and sit down and push. Okay, so let's do that again. So sit down as you come up, sit down. In breath. Okay. Okay. Next one, gazing at the moon. So start to your left and extend your hand so that the between your index finger and your thumb there's a V, and you're going to hold that up, and the full moon is right there. Okay, so that's that hand. The other hand comes, and it's as if you're placing your hand on the crown of your head, only you're not touching your head. You're up above it a few inches. Okay. And that's it. And then you, again, we're visualizing the moon and we're breathing through the forehead. Okay. and filling the head with light, and then we're kind of containing it with this other hand, and then expelling all the way down into the earth. Okay, so we'll break this. So this is a posture. It's not really a movement. There's a way to do it. So you sit down, and then both of them come up and express. Okay. So then we'll do that. We'll hold it for a little while, and then we'll come back, and then we'll do the other way. Okay. So gazing at the moon. So we're going to go up. So we start by going down, come up. Okay, one more breath. Okay, and then come back down. Okay, now the other side. Smile a little. Okay, very good. Okay, so let's let go of that. Okay. Okay, so that's very, very upward. So now we're just going to come back down to earth, so to speak. Okay, next one, twirling moonlight above the head. See if you can see. So we're going to come, and the arms are going to go up like this. We're going to form the sky cone, and then we're going to turn and turn and turn and set up this kind of twirling motion. Okay. Okay, so we're going to go up. So we start going down. Okay, and form the sky cone. So this is just like standing mountain, but in reverse. There's a little bit of stiffness here. And then we're going to turn, shift the weight, turn. There's kind of an up and down. So we dip the knees. And so we're twirling, we're twirling moonlight above the head. Okay, one more on each side. Okay, again, that was very up. So I'm going to get rooted. The next one, so this is kind of the opposite of the microcosmic orbit, but it's fine. It's still the same Qigong. So this is, so start with say your right hand. You're going to come up and here, and the left hand here. And then we're going to turn the direction of the hand so right hand, we're going to turn to the right. And left hand, we're going to turn to the left. This is called Old Man Strokes His Beard. With your breath. Okay, now let's reduce the movements. I mean, not the hands, but the body. And just come back to just the essence of the hands. Okay. And then you can sit down and stand up if you like. And then the palms are facing the body. So if we can bring our attention inside the body and feel we're stroking the spine on the inside. Okay, let's reduce the movements. So if you can maybe feel a resonance inside the body. Let's reduce the movements. Okay. Next one is called overlooking the ocean. But okay, well, this is a posture again. So you imagine you're standing on some kind of a very high platform, and you can see very far. So, and then the arm movements is maybe like you're holding onto a railing, and you sort of bend forward. You're overlooking the whole ocean. And now you're overlooking the whole planet, Earth. Overlooking the whole planet. Okay, very good. Okay, and let's just come back to standing. Okay. Next one, lotus flower goes through the mountain. So we're going to cross our wrists like this, and then we're going to run our hands, keeping the wrists together. This is the movement. Okay. And you can do this very quickly. Teacher Lee would sometimes do this very, very energetically, very fast. Or you can do it more slowly. Okay. And now just switch so the other hand's on top. Same thing. lotus flower going through the mountain. Reduce the movements. This is next is the closing movement. And this is where, so we've been way up in the sky and stuff. So we're going to just bring the hands together, backs to the hands, and put them directly on the lower dantians. This is a couple of inches below the navel. And sort of push and sit down. A couple more breaths. And then the final movement is the flying crane. There are many variations of the flying crane. The most basic is to come up to shoulder height and then sort of make this basket and then repeat. And you can lift the hands higher if you want, but do this with your breath. Okay, and then just reduce the movements. And the last thing that Teacher Lee would say is, imagine you're standing, gazing out at a snow-covered field with a white sky. Okay, let's bring up our stool just for a couple minutes. And so the movements and the order of the movements don't need to make sense. Just notice the state, the condition of the body and the breath and the mind. And the energy that you feel would be spring. It's returning to spring. Let's take a few more breaths. Okay, so traditionally then we would just repeat these same movements in every session for a certain number of sessions until they become very internalized. And you have a chance to sort of experience them in more subtle ways. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our closing. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, and tap the kidneys. Okay, well, thank you so much for your presence. Thank you for your practice. May it benefit all beings. And if you would like to slip away from the Zoom meeting, that's fine. And if you'd like to stay for conversation, that's fine too.